So allow me to introduce you to, this is Kelly McCutcheon. She is a student, but she is also an accomplished filmmaker on this topic. She has a film that really a lot of people are singing the praises of that deals with her high school and the topic of heroin in a very frank way. This lady you're looking at here now is Kathy Kane Willis from Roosevelt University. Kathy has been researching the heroin epidemic for a decade or more, I believe. Is that correct, Kathy?
Since 2004.
2004. So, and the other gentleman joining us is from the Chicago Tribune, John Kielman. Has covered this topic extensively in Chicago. So before we talk about perhaps what we can learn from the experiences in Chicago, first set the stage for us. How long has this been a problem in Chicago? Joe, I'll start with you, and anyone else feel free to jump in.
It's been a problem in Chicago since, for decades. I think it's what's changed in the last 10 to 15 years is that a whole new demographic has begun to abuse this, and that's younger people from the suburbs.
I would say the changing demographic is what's gotten all of the attention, and it's the young white suburban heroin users that's really gaining a lot of attention, and we see that pattern since 2000.
John, I may have introduced you as Joe. I apologize. It's John from the Tribune. Kelly, let's go to you for a second. You made a film where you had some very frank and honest and open discussions with your then high school classmates. You're in college now. Why did you want to make that film?
Because I noticed that there was this heroin epidemic going on at my school, and there was a lot of rumors and false information that was going on about it, and I wanted it to come straight up from the kids talking about what was actually going on and what they were actually doing and things like that.
Before we go ahead, let's take a look at this. Actually, we have a clip from your film. Nequa was the name of your high school. Nequa on drugs. Let's take a look at that.
I feel like it's just too much time and too much money in Naperville.
Everybody's too okay with heroin.
Kids at Nequa, they just get f***ed up to the point of no return.
Drugs have been around forever. It's nothing new, and people die of drugs every day.
It just swept me away, man. It was the greatest high I'd ever felt.
Get this feeling that, hey, maybe heroin's not that bad.
Obviously, we never have any idea, of what is about to happen.
All these kids that have passed away at Nequa and have died, that doesn't happen anywhere else.
Kathy, you've spent a lot of time researching this topic. When you saw this film, how did it strike you?
Am I still on?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I can't see the screen that I'm on.
Oh,
so
we can see you if you don't mind. You have seen Kelly's film, I know. What was your reaction to those conversations?
I thought the film was unbelievably truthful and something that everyone needs to see. I think that parents don't understand how kids process the drug taking experience, and I don't think that there is enough distinction made between drugs. So I mean, when you have a system that then there's very little drug education, and marijuana is sort of treated the same as all other drugs. I mean, that's what I think is really evident in the film, and how difficult and stressful it is to be around all of these drugs and to watch people around you die, the grief process. The reason why people are using hard drugs, I don't think, is because they are looking, there's this perception that they're looking for this bigger, better high. I think a lot of it is the reason why people use strong painkillers is to kill pain. And I think that's what Kelly's film really demonstrates so significantly.
Oh, Kelly, let's ask that question to you. Why are kids on heroin?
I mean, I'm not the person to really ask that question.
Okay,
but
fair enough.
I mean, I can. There's just different reasons. I don't know why every kid does heroin. You know.
Well, what did you want parents? What did you want adults, if you will, to use that term? What did you want people to know from this film, from your perspective when you made it?
I mean, I just wanted them to know like a lot of things. Like I wanted them to know like different things about rehab and just like drugs and like I don't know, just like whatever we talked about in the film. There's just like different things that people needed to know and stuff.
John, let me go back to you for a second. Tell us about something called the Good Samaritan Law? Have you covered this in your reporting, and enlighten us about this, because that's something that exists in your state and not in ours?
Well, Kathy's certainly the expert on that, but what it is essentially is that there is a long-standing problem with people who overdose, that their companions will not call 911 because they are worried that they are going to get arrested for drug possession when the cops and paramedics show up. So what the Good Samaritan Law does is it gives them a limited amount of immunity with the hope that they won't be too scared to call the police if their friend stops breathing. There's
some layers to that that I was going to ask Kathy about, but we just lost her there, so I apologize. What has been done in Chicago, John? What can we learn from you? What has Chicago done that we can take away from? Is there light at the end of the tunnel? I mean, have you seen some things work? And Kathy, you're back with us.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. The question is, what is Chicago? Where have you seen success that we need to know about here?
Absolutely. There's one thing. The Good Samaritan Law just went into effect in June. And so we're still working on the implementation. We have had anecdotal reports of a couple of lives being saved. The one thing that you do not have that Chicago does have in the St. Louis area is naloxone distribution. That's Narcan distribution. Narcan has saved over 3,000 lives. Narcan is like an EpiPen except for overdoses. It just removes all of the...
This is something that in Missouri paramedics have access to if they arrive on the scene.
But the American Medical Association and even the Drug Czar's office have come out in favor of having people trained in naloxone, Narcan, and having it available at home for prescription pills and for heroin, for all of these things, because the reality is no one should die from a opioid overdose, because they are 100% preventable. So I think that it's really important to be able to get those resources out into the community. And I do think it's important to couple that with a Good Samaritan Law. We know that the reason why people do not call 911 is the fear of police involvement.